y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Independent Living Podcast. This is where we talk with some of the most successful independent creators. And today we have someone that is exactly that, doing his thing in the music and other spaces. Nic D, man, appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Cool, man. So I've been following you for a minute. I have to be honest, I wasn't like completely dialed in into like
Sure.
listening to a lot of the music, but I was listening to it this morning, and I can understand why you are where you are. The quality of the music is top notch. It definitely sounds like you've been making music for a long time. When did it start for you? When did you start making music?
Oh, started messing around with it in high school. Never took it too serious as far as a career goes until January of 2019. That's when I decided to pursue it as a career, and since then, just kind of like I made the decision that I wanted to do it as a living. Operate as a business. Um, and yeah, so like I would say January 2019 is really when I started moving
So,
the
man,
needle in that sense.
So 4 years, you're now. I mean, I'm not always like super into the numbers in terms of gauging success, but you're up around 4 million monthly listeners. Just for the people that may not be familiar, that is a very high number for an independent artist. And if you tell me you started taking it serious in 2019, that
Hmm.
was only 4 years ago. That's fairly fast, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, 2019 I had zero monthly listeners. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what would you say if we can narrow it down to like maybe, and if there's more, that's cool, like the top 3 to 5 things that you can attribute to the momentum that you've been able to build in just 4 years?
Yeah, one of my top things that I wanted to do was be so consistent it was impossible to ignore me. So
Mm.
just very frequent releases, very frequent creation of content. Content also includes music, but videos and whatever. Just being consistent, being in front of people all the time. Whether it be music content or other content, just being in front of people. Um, and then I would say short form content in general was very critical, kind of in people finding out that I was making music, where they could find it. I didn't focus on any really long form. I just dove in head first to short form and then converted that over to people listening on the DSPs, the Spotify's, or the Apple Music, whatever. But really, just consistency. Really, I can't really, because with the consistency comes all the other stuff. With the consistency comes it gets easier to be better. So you have less misses. Your songs are better more often. You're not making as many bad songs in between the good ones because you're just creating more consistently. Same with your content. You get better at making content the more you make. It's like it's like putting in your time in the gym. It's putting in your time in getting shots up. It's whatever it is for you. It's the same. The music's a muscle. The content creation's a muscle. So it's just doing it all the time and getting better at it.
Yeah, so I mean, you can definitely hear the consistency from song to song. Like some of the artists that I listen to are super consistent. So like an artist like Blast, um, or an artist like Drake or Russ,
Mm,
um, or Rex Life Raj. Like you could just hear like the quality, the consistency of quality from song to song. Like I may not love every song, but I can
sure.
tell that there's a certain level of quality in these releases. So when you say consistent, let people know like about how often were you releasing music in 2019, and how did that change, if at all, to how often you're releasing music now?
2019, my goal was, and what I did was a song with a music video every 2 weeks. And then,
Okay.
so that was, yeah, a single and a music video every 2 weeks. That's 24 music videos, 24 singles in the span of 2019. That's what I did that year. And then, coming to a spot where I realized, nobody's discovering people off YouTube. The music videos are pretty much a waste of energy. Um, and a waste of time. Really, I need to be finding better ways to promote my music because music videos, in a sense, are a little selfish in general when you think about it. Right? It's artsy for the artist to do it. They want to do it, whether it makes them look cool or makes them, just it pairs with the art well. Whatever it is, it's not a discovery method as much as it used to be.
Mm.
Um, with like MTV, or even with the YouTube kind of music scene come up, like a Hobson would have had, or a Mike Stud, or a Huey Mack, or even a a G Easy. You know, all these guys, kind of NF, all these guys kind of came up on YouTube when it was a discovery method. And it is now starting to be again with shorts, but it's short form content. It's less of the music videos. Like Futuristic was doing one takes, and they were doing them really frequently back on the YouTube scene. So it just changed, right? You had to adapt and figure it out. Um, so I just went with short form, obviously TikTok Reels, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts now. But yeah, short form stuff, and just releasing it. And it hasn't changed much to this day. I still release every 2 weeks, every week if I feel like it. The last 2 months I've been releasing every week. I have a ton of done music. I have a masters folder with 150 finished songs in it, constantly adding to it and releasing from it. So it's just like yeah, it's just consistent, just be releasing, be in front of people all the time.
So you got 150 songs like done, ready to go, ready to release whenever you feel like. I think,
Yeah,
and that's what the consistency brings. Consistency, those reps. It's probably a lot easier for you to create today than it was in 2019.
exactly, exactly. And that's kind of what I meant. Like, the more you do it, the easier it becomes to be good more consistently. You know.
Indeed. So you have like 2 million followers on TikTok now. Like
Mhm.
just your approach to TikTok and your focus on short form content. How often were you posting to TikTok, and what was kind of your approach and strategy to start getting the momentum on that platform?
Yeah, so every release I would make content for it, and at the time, now it's a little different. I'm a little more comfortable. I'm not as hungry as I used to be. um, but then it was every release got at least one video, probably two, three during the week of release, because I was doing weekly releases during the time where I was really trying to gain momentum and keep the momentum. So every single song got a video or two or three in the week, and then as the next Friday came up, right, the next release was coming out, I would then move to promoting the next record. But if the record that I had just released got some traction with content, I would still implement those videos throughout the weeks to come as well. I would just be promoting all these things at the same time. And what happened was, so for example, I had a song in 2021, the summer of 2021, go viral, called Pineapple, and it was probably my most mainstreamish song that went, like, it went top 40 hit radio. It was whatever, it was on these places, so the most like mainstream song. And then after that, I released a song called Icy Pop, and so I released that in September of 2021, and then in January of 2022, I was like, oh, I need something to post. I'm on vacation. So I posted a video that had my drafts on my TikTok drafts of Icy Pop. And then that's 3 months after release. Sometimes people are like, oh, it's an old song, but it's still brand new for people who've never heard it. So I post
Yep.
this piece of content, and it goes viral. It does, like, 7 million views or something. And then I go, and what I do immediately was I release another song. So now I have Icy Pop that just went viral. I released a new song called Serotonin, and I'm doing every other day. I'm doing one video for each song. I'm not overloading people with one song, shoving it down their throat. I'm giving them more, right? Because when people find you, what do they want? They want more. They want something new. So
Exactly.
I gave them new, and what happened was both of those songs ended up on the viral 50 Spotify at the same time.
Nice.
So what most people would have done, right? They would have drilled the one song in, and made people tired of it and tried to milk it for all it was worth. But I just listened to people, right? In your comments, it says, "You love this song. Would love to hear more." So what do? I release another one. I give them more. You just listen to people, You listen because that's people are listening, are the people who are telling you what they want. You just gotta pay attention to that and be aware, and kind of put your pride to the side and just give them what they want.
Yeah. Now you seem like fairly comfortable with your success because obviously, it's not like mainstream success. You're having a ton of success, but you have your big group of fans, your community is growing. A lot of independent artists will say they're comfortable with that, but they really want like mainstream success. Like they're not, sometimes they're honest, but a lot of times they're not really honest with themselves, right?
Hmm.
How do you feel? Would you like more mainstream success? You know, the industry accolades, or are you really comfortable in the space that you're in?
I'm very, very comfortable. I never cared, never wanted. What I want to do something I love and take care of my family. I have two kids. I have a farm here. I've got 54 acres. So I came
Nice.
here from the farm. Like I'm not. I've never been to LA. I've never been in a music studio. Um, I'm the most like unnetworked person that you'll know. I don't know anyone. Um, and I'm content with that. Like really and truly, I don't want to tour. I want to be home with my family. I'm not looking for people to praise me while I'm on stage. I have a friend named Connor Price, and we might do something like a co-headline. My wife is encouraging me to do it
Okay.
because, like, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to go and sell out a headline tour, right? So it's like she's saying I should at least do it once. So I'm like, okay, all right, we'll talk about it as long as it's family conducive. But really and truly, I mean, my ultimate goal is to sell my catalog
Hmm.
and then write more books. I wrote a children's book. I got two more ideas for independent artist books. Um, I've always been the kind of person where I see something, I enjoy it, I think it's great, I think it's cool. I work hard until I get good at it, and then I move to the next thing. I'm constantly what There's so many lifetimes to live, and things you can do, and I don't want to lock into one and just kind of be tied to it. But although I love the process of creating and releasing music, I'm not saying that I don't. I truly do. I love the feeling that I get when I finish a song, but the business aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
The I need to do this to make money aspect of it so that I can provide for that. Like I'll always be creating music, but it's just the operating the business part of it that I eventually want to separate myself a little bit from.
Yeah. No, I think it's dope, man. I have a lot of these conversations with successful independent artists, and I would say, like when I spoke with Kota The Friend, he tours a bit, but family's big for him as well. He has kids and I believe a wife. And I just think it's dope that in this day and age, and I didn't even ask you where you live. Where do you live now? What state?
I live in a small town in Virginia.
Yeah, so you're in Virginia, you're doing your thing, you're doing well, and you're on your farm living life, and you're able to kind of structure your life the way you want it. Like I said, doing what you love, providing for your family, and I think that's an amazing thing. You don't have to come to LA, you don't have to go
Mm,
to New York. You could do your thing straight from Virginia, and I think that's amazing.
yeah.
Um, you mentioned Connor. I see that you have a lot of songs with him, and he's a very successful independent artist as well. How much has collaboration played into your success that you're enjoying now?
Mm, for the longest time, I didn't really collaborate. I connected with Connor. Oh, jeez. This winter will either be a year or 2 years. Will it be 2 years? I don't know. Time flies, man. It
It
might be two
does.
years. Might be 2 years we connected, um, and we just became friends. Like he's one of my best friends. So the
Nice.
process of creating with your best friend is very different than creating and trying to work on something with a song you might not even like or an artist that you don't really connect with. So I don't work with label artists. They're just too much of a headache. Not the artists themselves, the whole process, the lawyers, the management, the good lord. You know what I mean? I don't have management. I don't have PR or anything you think of. I don't have it. And I like it that way because it's less headache. I try to avoid headaches at all costs.
Mm.
Um, just keep it easy, keep it smooth. And I work with the same producer 95% of the time, 99% of the time, probably. Every now and again, I'll use another one because then it's like, then in come more headaches with the more people you add into your circle. So it's very, very chill over here.
Awesome. If you could collaborate with you could just pick somebody that you admire, and it would be easy for you to collaborate with them. Who would you pick?
I probably lean John Bellion. on this question, and it's not only because the music's dope, but I like how he carries himself as a human being, as a person. And
Yeah.
like that stuff's more important to me than dope art or dope music, really.
Yeah. You and Connor, I mean, because I know Connor's kind of in the same lane and he's doing really well on socials and he's got a shit
Hmm.
ton of monthly listeners as well. You guys really have
Yep.
good chemistry on tracks. You know, the ones that I was listening to this morning, man, definitely have some good chemistry. Sounds
Thank
like
you.
it sounds like it's easy and fun. That's what it sounds like. It's
Yeah.
easy and fun. Um,
Very.
I hear that through the records for sure. Um, education is big for you. I see you have a book. Can you tell people what the book is called? Because I think the title itself is interesting.
Yeah. The book is titled "You Don't Want It Bad Enough," and I mean, that's what it is, really, because a lot of times, like one of my favorite quotes is, "You'll either find an excuse or you'll find a way." If you want something. Um, so it just boils down to how bad do you want it. And a lot of people say that they want it, but they really don't, and that's okay as long as they're self-aware about it. Like a lot of people say it's what they want, but their actions speak otherwise, and it just kind of like removes the thoughts of that. Like the book is some mindset stuff, but it's also like really applicable stuff of how I approached the my music career. So it's less of how you should and more of how I did,
Yeah,
because there's only so much people can say if you talk about how you did something. You can't really argue with it. But if you
yeah,
you try to tell someone how they should do something, there's always something that they can say after that. So I leans towards the this is how I did. And yeah, it's how to kind of navigate the new music industry independently, how to make a living making music, as far as a uh, like a really predictable kind of way, like less virality, um, less lot like hitting the lottery, and just more like a practical approach to making a living making music.
yeah. I mean, the way I always tell artists is just, I mean, obviously you got to put in the work. You got to be consistent, but it's just a continuous process of building on small wins, right? And just
Yeah, absolutely.
continue to build that momentum. And where can people get the book if they want to look into it?
NicDbook.com. So NICD book.com.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of education. When I was running the label that we started, we hosted a couple of virtual conferences like back in 2014, 2015, because I just felt it was important because I didn't have music industry background initially, didn't have any music industry contacts. So a lot of people looked to our label as kind of educators as well. We were kind of doing what, a lot of artists wanted to do because we were, essentially creating it brick by brick. So education is super important. So I think it's dope that you're doing that because there's a lot of different ways to make it in the music industry. But when you break it down, it's going to come down to some very, very core things that it's going to take. And a lot of artists say it's their passion, but it's really something that's just fun to do. There's a difference between something that's fun to do and something that really is, your passion. So definitely check out that book. Um, you mentioned earlier that your team is pretty minimal. Um,
Hmm.
and so right now, if you who helps you with your stuff? What is the team? What does that consist of?
Uh, I mean, my wife helps me with some scheduling stuff. She kind of runs the merchandise side of things. But we don't do too much merch, really. But if there is merch, she's handling it. Um, a buddy of mine, Cakes, will help kind of film content with me. Um, I'm doing a lot less of it now, just because I'm like, if I don't feel like doing it, I just don't. I don't force things. I'm kind of detached from the results, and I'm just enjoying the process. I'm in a different place than I was in grind season, right? Um, and then Graham is my producer. Pablo is my mixing engineer. And then I have Alex, who's behind the camera over here, and also is helping film and edit some things. And um, That's pretty much it. And really, I added some pieces to the puzzle just to try to clear up my schedule. But I think it's important for artists to skill stack, to become good at these things and not be reliant on other people to help you with them.
Yeah.
And not only does that make you more efficient at what you need to be doing, but it makes you more valuable in other situations as well.
Yeah. Nah, it seems like, I mean, you're super in tune and hands on with everything. I know that you've recently come over to Two Lost, and you were on calls with Buster and like really
Hmm.
understanding everything and just making sure that you like understood like everything about the process, and it seems like your entire business. I encourage artists to do. I think a lot of artists kind of tap out of that because they don't feel like they're supposed to do it or don't want
Hmm.
to do it. But it's super important to stay on top of your business. Can you talk little bit just about that?
Yeah, yeah. What do you want to know?
Just is that something that you knew from the jump?
Mm,
Like I gotta know the industry I say I want a career in. I gotta understand the business
yeah.
of the industry I say I want a career in. Did you know that from the jump, or did something happen like, oh, I need to get
Uh,
on my shit?
no, I knew it from the jump. I always, ever since I started, I knew that I needed to operate like a business would, think like a business would, kind of separate myself from, like I said, kind of put your pride aside of what you feel the best, maybe even the best. I don't know. I wouldn't want to say like you don't want to sell your art short, but I just mean like a lot of people are so attached to the art that they don't feel like promoting or marketing, or they don't do the stuff that's important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the stuff that's gonna help you make a living. Um, and then um, you said what rephrase or sorry, say again what your question was.
So it was just, I mean, you kind of answered it, whether it was something that you knew from the jump, or
Yeah,
maybe because sometimes artists need to bump their head, or get involved with
sure.
the wrong person, and then it's like,
Mm,
oh, I actually need to learn the business, right?
yeah,
But
I wanted everything like I didn't want no hands in it, so like being independent and getting 100% of everything, like that was something that was very important to me. And you could say that I probably heard that early on from Russ, but I just like took it serious, like
yeah.
um so that's why I never, like I said, never did management or nothing. And as far as the business side goes, I ran another company beforehand. I was a photographer,
Mm.
and I was running that, so I'd already come from a background of business. And I always say I don't like the music business, but I love music and I love business. So
Mm.
I kind of like operate on the outskirts of that, like because the music business just has this like this feel to it that, and hopefully we can get away from that stigma. But what I mean, it's just yeah.
But I mean, I look at it the same way, like you do. I mean, you don't have to operate within it. As
Mhm.
long as you understand the business, you,
Mhm.
especially when you get to the point where you're at, there's nobody that you really need. So you can stay away from people if they're giving off bad energy or you just don't feel the vibes.
Mhm.
You essentially kind of do what you want to do at this point.
Yeah.
And you've built it so that you have that luxury. So I think that's amazing. So in terms of, I think you mentioned that you don't really do too much merch, but in terms of like your revenue mix, like how would you say your revenue breaks down percentage wise? Like, is it mostly streaming, some publishing? Like, how would you say percentage wise your revenue breaks down?
I'll probably go streaming number one, by far, which is interesting because a lot of people say there's no money in streaming, right? uh,
Exactly. I fight,
there,
I fight that battle all the time.
yeah, yeah. There is when you own your music and you get enough people listening.
Mm,
Um, so streaming's number one, and then I would say I also have a podcast, um, not
mhm.
associated with music, which I also encourage other artists to do. Is don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So I have this other podcast called The Freddie Show. I do it with my friend Cake, who I mentioned before, who helps me film some content and on that side of things. And that might be revenue number two currently. Um, and then probably publishing, and then maybe some merch. I don't do a ton of brand deals. I'm really simple. Like I don't tour, I don't do shows. I turn down, like for example, I probably got um, the last show that I turned down was like a Puerto festival in Puerto Rico, and it was like 45 minutes. They offered me 50K. So I was like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to leave my family, right? And then there's other ones that come in, headline of festival, and that's or the headline of festival is different. And that was like they were like, Jason Derulo did it last year. We want to have you do it this year. And even cool to like be mentioned with like Jason Derulo did it next year. You want to do it this year? Or anyway. So and that's more bread for
Yeah,
that. But it's just not like you said. I get to do what I want, and I'm not money driven.
yeah,
I'm not money hungry. I'm not like my family's good. I'm good. It's
yeah.
like I do what I want.
Yeah, I mean, and you've built such a platform that the scarcity of you touring is only gonna
Mm,
drive that up as long as you keep making music.
yeah,
Um, so you're in a pretty unique position as an independent artist because a lot of independent artists, even successful ones, that's part of how they build the community and giving fans that experience and increasing that connection with people. So there's so many different ways to set up your business, and that's what I think is so dope about the music industry today, is
yeah.
because you can set up shit however you want. The podcast. So you have a couple of podcasts. The podcast you just mentioned. What's the focus? Like, what is the topic?
Yeah, it's like entertainment, comedy, just like another side of me. There's multiple like sides of me or my personality that and what it actually it helped my music career, I think, because it got it goes viral pretty often. Just me and my friend messing around, and what people got to learn was my personality as a person. My like they got to know me as a human being. And if
Yeah.
they liked me there, what it did was when they came across my music, it created an instant fan and
Yep.
instead of a casual listener. So because
Yep.
they already liked me as a person, then came across my stuff, it was like an immediate, like I said, fan interaction. So I think that had it was an outlier in my success with music.
Yeah. Now we talk about this a lot with artists. It's just about creating this world that has multiple entries, right? Like people can enter your world through your music, people can enter your world through your social media page, through your podcast. However they enter the world, if they like you, they're gonna visit other booths within your world and stay for a while. So I mean, it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. The other podcast you have is more education. It's called
Mm-hmm.
the Independent podcast, right? Can you talk to
Yep.
talk to us about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's just a very transparent podcast on any questions that come up. There aren't ever questions I see where I'm like, ooh, I'm not talking about that one. I'm keeping that to myself. It's
Yeah,
just very free flowing. Um, like I mentioned before we got on here, I don't talk about like exact amount of dollars that I'm making, but I'm very transparent with how I make the dollars. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not keeping anything from anyone, just sharing in hopes that people will implement the stuff because I know it works. Like with Connor Price, it worked with him. I met him with 75,000 monthly listeners. He was already talented. He was already hardworking. He already could spit. Like all that stuff was a given. He was just working in the wrong direction. So I just I pointed him the right way. And then from there, it was like he just kept doing his thing he was already doing, but now obviously it converts better, it streams better, like all that stuff. And then there's plenty of other people. Well, Fulton Lee, Crash Adams, Graham, my producer and Connor's producer, now has an artist project with 1.8 million monthlies in 1 year.
dope.
Um, so it's like just these case studies of people that are applying what I'm sharing, and I just see it working, right? Because it's like I said, it's practical. You're not looking for a home run. You're not, or every now and again you get one, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a practical approach to making a living, making music, and it's more reliable than just hoping you go viral, you know?
Now those moments come are more, those grand slams come
Yeah,
more often as long as you continue doing what you're doing and putting in that
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Um, there was a I was watching the Math Hoffa podcast, and Joe Budden was on it. And by the way, people, do not listen to these folks on podcasts about the independent
Hmm.
music industry, because Joe Budden literally was on there and he said if somebody is successful and independent, they're not gonna tell you. I like this is
Mm,
the I like you're an open book. This platform talks with independent creators all the time, and they tell you exactly what they're doing.
mm-hmm.
So don't listen to these random ass podcasts with people that ain't on the ground, like actually doing it. And even some of these music business educators, like I go at, because sometimes they turn into more like clout chasing
Mm-hmm.
content creators. They're
Mm-hmm.
just they're trying to get the likes. They're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get and that's really what their primary motivation is. So I think it's
Yep.
dope. So the independent podcast, how frequently does that come out?
Currently once a week on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Keeping it chill, and that's part of a grouped community. I know Two Loss is getting, they're setting up their grouped community as well, and then I have one for my artist project as well. So that, and
Yeah.
I forgot that actually as a revenue stream. That's another revenue stream I have, is my group community, which is like a subscription based kind of model.
Yeah, well, I mean, you since you brought it up, I definitely wanted to touch on that before we wrap up, because obviously you
Yeah.
have, a big community of folks that are tapped in, and you're on
Hmm.
TikTok and you're on Instagram, but you're using Grouped as well. Like,
Yeah.
what's the approach there, and how do you use it?
Yeah, so I think the upside is really amazing. I mention it, every time I bring up group, I'll mention it here as well, and then I'll dive into my more specific approach. But it's that the most real world example I can give is the artist Mike, formerly known as Mike Stud. Um, across all platforms like YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, he probably has like 4 or 5 million monthlies, right?
Hmm.
And he makes the same or more off of the 10,000 people that he has signed up for his monthly subscription. Right? He's got 10,000 people signed up at $9 a month. And that's 90 bands right there. It's 90 racks. So he makes the same amount of money monthly or more, depending on the month, that he's making off these 4 to 5 million people listening. So it's like this way that you reach your top 1 to 5%, the people who are willing to support you financially and want to support you financially, and they come into this place, and you can do whatever you want in there. You can do I do like a vlog. So what I do Mondays, a song, right? I have this folder of songs I told you about, 150 finished masters, and I put one every Monday to the group, to my group of people. I call it the Freddie Fam. And I put every Wednesday a video content, whether that's a vlog, a behind the scenes of a song, a podcast, and me just updating people on what's going on, etc. And then Friday we do do giveaways every Friday, whether it be some of my merch that I have, whether it be a free entry into the paid side of my group, whatever it is, we do a giveaway every single Friday. So I use it in a way to, kind of connect deeper with the people who already care, right? Because I think people are oftentimes trying to chase the number, right? The millions of people listening, the millions of followers, but you already have probably 1,000 people that are willing to pay you $5 a month,
Hmm.
$10 a month, $3 a month, whatever you set it at. And now all of a sudden, if you get 1,000 people to pay you $3 a month. I mean, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? That's a great living, just based off of 1,000 people. So,
Yeah.
and that's just like a little side thing. You can make it your main hustle if you want, and try to get everybody in there.
Yeah.
Like my goal is just get 10,000 people in there, because it's a free side too. It's not only paid. We don't ostracize. Just like anyone can join. It's free to join, and if they choose to upgrade, they can. Right. So for me, I want to get 10,000 people in there. I have in the 9,000s right now, and then I want to kind of focus on, all right. Let me take this 10,000 people who I have, and then slowly show them the value on the paid side, and hopefully convert them over there, right? And then you can also use it just to gather email addresses of people who mess with you, to gather phone numbers of people to mess with you. When you have, if you do tours, now you got email addresses of people who took the time to sign up for your website. Then they'll probably want to see you live. It's like I said, it's the top one. If it's the people that will come to your show, the people that will buy your merch, right? The people that care about your next release, and it
Yeah.
just gathers them all in one place. And there's no algorithm, right? It's got the feel of a social media, like you're posting and scrolling, but there's no algorithm. Everybody's seeing it. You don't have to like
Yeah.
trick the algorithm to try to get in front of the people who care about you. It's just a wonderful spot, man. And there's no like hate in there. There's no, because it's already people who rock with you. You're not getting in front of these people. Like, it's just all love. It's just people it's, yeah, I like it. I love it in there.
Nah, that's super dope, man. It sounds like, it's a combination of your talent, your consistency, but it sounds like you have a lot of structure, and that may come from like how you ran the business prior to. But as I'm talking to you, you're saying, I do this on Monday, and I do this on Tuesday, and then this on Thursday, and we do this on Friday. Is that structure important to you, or is it something that you even are knowledgeable? I mean, aware of? Like, do you need structure? Are you a structure type person, or is that just works for you?
No, I am not a structured type person. I think the people appreciate the structure. The people
Mm,
inside, like, they know what to expect when. They know if they're paying me $9 a month, they get a song Monday, a video Friday. I think for them it's much nicer. I personally love to do what I want when I want. So, but because I have a folder of a bunch of songs already done, I can commit to a song every Monday, right? I can schedule the posts out, however that looks. And having Alex, I can say, Alex, film a vlog today while we're doing this, so we have something to post on Wednesday. Just, but still, like, the video gets uploaded on Wednesday. When is that vlog shot? Whenever I felt like it, right? So it's like there's still, it's a balance
yeah.
for. So yes, I think that people need the structure. It's helpful for them. I personally, yeah, can you just go answer it? I personally thrive better in a moment where I'm inspired. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, cool, man. We'll wrap this up. So Two Lost is about to start a group community. We are going to launch it with a contest that we're starting next week with T Pain. So
Oh, cool.
we connected with T Pain. We're going to be giving away $33,000 to the winners. That's like 20,000 to the top prize, and I think 8,000 second place, and 5,000 third place. And I think that'll be a great way to kind of
That's
kickstart our
awesome.
community to get people inside. But any last words, or just let people know where they can find you. Just maybe shout out your Instagram and your TikTok, so people can connect.
Yeah, and all the socials are I am Nic D. But I think where I find the most uh, s- focus right now is with my book. So if you want to support the book, then it's at nicdbook.com, and it's a
So
PDF
we'll put a link
download,
to it.
it's a audio book, and then it's a podcast that pairs with the book. So it's like this like bundle of and I'm gonna add like a worksheet along with it here soon. So but yeah, that's where I'm at.
So we'll put a link to it in the description. But Nick, man, I
Cool.
really appreciate it. It sounds like I could talk to you for more hours, man. You sound like you're a real insightful cat. If you ever need anything, feel free to use me personally as a resource at Two Lost or anywhere else. You got my number now.
Thank you.
If there's any way I can help, or if you need any assistance, sounds like you got everything under control. But feel free to reach out to me anytime, man.
Thank you, Dame. Thank you so much.
Cool, cool. All right, y'all. This has been another amazing episode of the Independent Living Podcast. It's Nic D, everyone. Make sure you listen to the music, man. He's got bars, he's got melodies, he's got a wide range of songs to tap into, man. There's a lot there. So tap in with it. All right, y'all.
Much
Till
love.
next time.
All right.
Peace.